Well, hey! Good morning, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Excuse me, to you all. Welcome to a Blue Gamer Bluecast Morning Show. I'm your host, Adam Blue, 30-plus year video game enthusiast and industry analyst. And today for, June 3rd, 2026, run through the latest gaming news, what I've been playing, etc., etc. The state of play was yesterday, the Sony PlayStation State of Play. This is where they show off a bunch of new games coming out, get you excited about PlayStation, and we'll talk about that and my thoughts. But I think that's going to take up most of the news, so we're going to jump right in to what I've been playing. And not too much, but I've been playing a little bit more First Light. Played a little bit last night and this morning. So, I'm still really liking the game, and in fact, yesterday I spent most of the time, actually all the game time I played yesterday, in the TAC sim, the tactical simulation. So it's not going into the story mode, but it's just going into each action area. There's a lot to this game, but each open world action area is made into separate levels that you can jump into, and they have different challenges to them, and it is a lot of fun. I mean, it takes the best of, I know a lot of people like to immediately compare to Hitman because it was made by the Hitman team, but to me it feels way more like Sniper Elite, even Metal Gear Solid 5, just because there's way more actual action. What's cool about this game is that you can just do some badass action, and you don't really have to worry about ruining or alerting the entire level. I can be in a warehouse off to the side in a section where there's like 3 guys that I'm fighting, and it doesn't alert the rest of the level or anything. It's really cool that I can have these little self-contained action sequences, and they're really good. I mean, and that's what's fun about the tactical simulations, because I'm just jumping right into the action sequences where it's, again, I say action sequences, but it's the mechanics. I'm just wanting to play with the mechanics of the game. Vaulting over things, takedowns, punches, doing the combos. Okay, there's combos for a hit stomach punch that helps people that are blocking. There's a punch and then a hard kick that helps push people back to stagger, so then you can stagger them closer to something to then press right trigger, which is a grab, to grab them into something, and then hold down LB. That's the famous thing Crimson Desert's doing now, or games. LB is kind of like the contextual aware, now my buttons are different for a moment. That's your watch. You hold down LB or watch, you could zap people. Well, actually not. What did I do? I pressed the laser on a barrel, an explosive barrel, blew up. Also, I hacked a computer. I don't know. There's way more gameplay than I think it seems to come off when you're playing the story, because the story has all these linear sections. Again, I've said it's things that I normally don't like in games, but here they do a good job. So I'm having so much fun. And then this morning I jumped into the story a little bit more, which I gotta say, sometimes the story it's cool, but sometimes it's too slow for me because I'm not doing any gameplay. It's just talking. I'm like, I know that's what they presented here, and I like James Bond, and they're doing it well, but it's a really good game. I can't wait to beat it so I can really solidify my thoughts. So, hey, GMKLX, good to see you, Sup Squad. And then also I played Gundam Battle Assault. I think this was a 1998 title on the PlayStation 1. Again, covering this for the Gundam Explained channel. Actually, yeah, does it even say? Oh, wow. Hold up. Oh, wait. Battle Assault. Oh, interesting. So it is made by the same people that did Endless Duel. Wow. Interesting. I'm surprised. Am I missing it? It doesn't seem to have the 97, 98. I don't like it as much as Endless Duel. That might take me more time to play it, but it just looks great, especially the scale of the mobile suits. I mean, a boss being the Big Zam, if you guys are familiar with Gundam, gigantic mecha, and fighting against it was pretty fun. It can destroy you if you're not careful. Anyway, I'll be continuing to play that on the Gundam Explained morning live stream until I beat it, and then I'll drop a review. So, is that about it? Since yeah, I think maybe on the first I played a little bit of Mouse PI for Hire. Fun game, fun game. No complaints. Yeah, I think that's about it for what I've been playing. So yeah, we'll jump into some different news uh things I pulled up. Um, in fact, let's just start with the state of play real quick. So this was yesterday. It came on at a good time. It was like 4:30 Central. I forget what was my time. That's when I'm like about to be getting off work. So this was like perfect timing for me to. I didn't see everything, but I will say overall it was very underwhelming. And maybe let's go through the games and maybe I can explain what that is. Ace Combat 8, that's cool. It's a sequel. Banjo the Chef, that looks cool. But it's not my thing. It's more of a gamey. How do you explain a game like this? Puzzle game? I don't know. Control Resonant looks cool. Never beat the first Control, even though I liked it. So how much do I really care? This Dune Awakening, I don't necessarily care for it, but it was showing some like single player stuff that actually looked fun. I could jump into that. Dynasty Warriors 3 Complete Edition Remastered. That seems like that would be cool to play, but I never beat Origins. And so if I'm going to play a Dynasty Warriors game, I'm going to have to beat that. And then there's this God of War Lao Fei, which I got to say was super underwhelming. And I think a lot of it had to do with it really just looks like any of these other third person style action games that have been coming out recently. It's really focused on the cinematic portion. So watching the reveal of it, very little gameplay. It was more story cinematics, which, hey, if people like that stuff, that's great. I like it, but only to an extent. I want the gameplay to be the majority of it. Also, at this point, they don't even need to say God of War. This is a thing that is its own thing at this point. I think God of War is just there to be like, hey, remember God of War? But you shouldn't be doing that all the time. Let this game stand on its own because it is doing so much. It sounds like it's going to be where you're in this afterlife, and all these different mythologies are there, and that's cool, right? That should be its own thing. But I do think you should put Kratos, maybe in the original gameplay style, in a situation like that. That would be very interesting. So I do think, again, Sony leaned hard into the prestige single player, big budget, bloated game while also leaning into live service. Live services failed for them, and we've seen, I should have brought it up, but there was, I guess, a financial report of, Sony tracking, I guess, sales since 2018 or something, and it shows that their single player party games are just losing money. Or maybe that's not the word, not losing money, but they're not selling as hot. And I think it's because they're focusing too much on making it a highly produced cinematic experience, which that's fine, I guess, but it's not helping the game's medium right now by doing that. So, and it's funny because then that Sons of Sparta that Sony came out with, which was kind of an answer to their big prestige titles, but it was done in the wrong. It was an overcorrection of how do we do something super, super, super cheap, and then no one's even talking about it. So what I think Sony needs to figure out is a way to be able to focus on making put money into the game, but not. Well, it's like back to that double A style of gaming. It should be fine for them to do that, and it's interesting that they're not. Anyway, I mean, I don't want to totally crap on this game. I think the thing is, again, it was the reveal at the end of the show, the one more thing. This was when you could go to the Alamo Drafthouse movie theaters to watch the state of play because this was supposed to be the cinematic moment, but it was really underwhelming. Some interesting things about it though, like again, I'm curious when the game drops, is like your partner in this is a slime cube that's very like fantasy Dungeons and Dragons, and it has like a sword in its head or something. That could be fun. Again, I don't want to totally ignore or call this off, or I forget what the terminology is. But I just think it's surprising that this is what Sony showed up with. I don't know. Man, just thinking of the games that came out in the PS3 era that unfortunately didn't get the time to shine because the PS3 launch itself didn't work out for Sony. Because I'm just thinking like, Starhawk, the MotorStorm games. Like there was all these different interesting types of games coming out. And then Marathon, I guess they have it where there's like a free trial for that, but that's unfortunate. Tokon Fighting Souls, I feel like I'm going to play that game for sure. I'm not even bothering paying attention to anything they announced a release. I feel like it's a cool fighting game. I'm going to play it when it comes out. Wolverine. Wolverine looked amazing. It's exactly what I mean. Playing Bond right now, it seems to have kind of the same sort of stuff where some of it looks pretty linear, but just the combat and the action. I was watching real closely with my brother last night. We were watching on the big screen the trailer just to kind of be able to maybe make out what some of the mechanics are. And I did notice there was a time there was sometimes indicators, but sometimes not. I feel like it's a curated trailer or gameplay trailer, but I saw a moment where Wolverine was doing 3 blocks before then attacking back. I saw where he did a counter. So, these are things that are very common now in these like third person action games, like James Bond and all that, Sniper Elite that I love. And so I hope that doesn't get oversaturated, because I think when we look at that God of War Lao Fei, that looks like something that an oversaturation is just another thing. Wolverine's cool. There's so much that could happen with this. I'm excited. And it's interesting. I'm excited because I was let down by the Spider-Man games. I liked Miles Morales, but the other ones were unfocused. So that's the thing. That linearity could allow this Wolverine game to be a little bit more focused, and I would enjoy that. I just didn't like in the Spider-Man games, especially the second one, how many times it would turn into that prestige third-person game, cinematic, where I'm just walking with the characters and they're talking and it's story. And it's like, this is a bloated story. I'm playing a game. Oh man, Ill looked cool. I mean, I normally don't play horror games because, unless they're like super action horror, like this says action. The typical survivor horror game I don't really care for because the gameplay is very basic, because the game is what's the word I'm looking for? It's hoping. It's assuming that they are able to augment the player's experience by scaring them. And I think I got to a point where these games stopped scaring me. I remember there was a time, even Doom 3 was scary. That kind of went away. It's like with horror movies, I think, like you get desensitized to a certain aspect. Kimuri, I don't know, didn't really look. No Rest for the Wicked, I can't wait to play that. I've been meaning to play that since it got released in early access, and the only reason I didn't get it was because the early access reviews were rough. I don't know if I might have a video when I was looking at them, but it was pretty rough. Anyway, I really want to jump into this game. And I guess it's coming to Switch, apparently, and then PS5 this October. So that might be something I buy on PC anyway. Onimusha Way of the Sword, this looked cool. In fact, I was watching, it didn't look like, it just looked like, it's an example of, this looks like a generic action game, but it actually looks like a fun generic action game. I think that's the very hard situation these game developers and publishers find themselves in. It's like, you can make a game look cool. Okay, cat's being annoying. You can make a game like, no, that's not what I'm trying to say is you might have gameplay that looks similar, where it's like, this is just the similar things games are doing, but what can you do with the game to make it stand out? Capcom's just really good at that. Phantom Blade, another one, an action game coming out pretty soon. Got Taro Man. Okay, so I think I opened another tab for this because out of the PlayStation Plus, PsyOps Mindgate Conspiracy. I don't know if you guys ever played this. This was a 360 era game. Loved, or was it PS2 or PS3? You know what? I don't actually remember. For some reason, I'm thinking it's PS2. No, it was on Xbox also, so it wasn't 360. There we go. Fun third-person game. We talked about third-person. Okay, hold on. I got to get the cat. Sometimes the cat will chew on some plastic. Can't let her do that. Anyway. Okay, PsyOps and Mindgate Conspiracy is a good example of a third-person action game, but it does things that's interesting and unique on its own. It had things like Jedi Force powers. Man, I played the heck out of that. I never beat it. I remember I was at the end, and then it's this thing that happens. It's always happened where a new game comes out, and then I tend to jump into that, and then it falls off. So I think this is awesome that this is coming out in July. Like I would love to play the game again. I'd be actually interested if it's just as fun as I remember. And then Rayman Legends Retold. I could see myself playing that. I played that a lot, even with the kids when they were younger. The other Rayman Legends, um, Silent Hill. It depends. Stuntman, holy crap! This shocked me. I remember when they were showing like the cars racing, they're showing Knight Rider like Kit, and then the DeLorean, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. Stuntman is an awesome series of games, and I think I only played one though. But check this out. I was just checking to see. Yeah, and unfortunately, at this time, it wasn't able to grab the hours that I played it because I'd be curious. Excuse me, I'd be curious. But like for instance, wait, it's not working. Well, I clicked one of these and it said like get get all like 5 stars or something, just to show like I've played this game a lot because I really enjoyed it. Yeah, earn a 5-star ranking in all Strike Force Omega scenes. I really like Stuntman, and I think I went through multiple phases of playing it. I remember back when it first came out. What? Oh, wrong button. I just because I want to see if it says. Okay, 2007 makes sense. Played it when it first came out a lot. And then, yeah, I remember that time. I remember specifically 2 moments of playing it. Just because it was the house I had at the time, and I remember I would sometimes move my game consoles to another room. But Stuntman was just always the game that just really got me. It's constant action. It's just fun. So a new one coming is pretty insane. And let me get back to that. And I'm all down. I'm excited. There's not much more we know except that this was a shock to me. The Lost Wild, yeah, didn't really seem to be anything interesting. This Tomb Raider, Legacy of Atlantis, we've seen it before. It looks cool. And then Until Dawn 2, not my thing. So, I mean, I think in general, like, there's cool games that were listed at the State of Play. But in my opinion, none of them were... I mean, you would think the God of War Lao Fei would be... And I guess what I'm trying to say is, it's not that, like, this game looked bad. It's not that... I guess I don't want... It's more of, this doesn't have that spark that I think Sony is expecting, for their gaming. So overall, I'd say the State of Play was pretty boring, pretty dull. There's announcements that have already been made or could have just been made. Summer Game Fest is coming up. And I, part of it though is, I think there was a storm, a perfect storm of things that happened to a lot of the game companies where it was COVID postponed a lot of development. And then after that, there was the sort of agenda-driven initiatives within companies where then it would cause developers to leave. I mean, this is a real documented thing. As much as, that DEI thing, it seems political. I mean, it's really not. Whether it's real or not, people thought it was and acted on it, both in game development and outside game development. And I think that also caused a lot. Like, I think there are people that are just complaining about, okay, that's the wrong way to put it. I think there are people that are willing to ignore this game because it has a woman in it. And I know that seems bad, and I don't think that's right. But I think it's just because of the sort of the turmoil that happened in the past couple years that's led to this point. That's why I don't think they should have had God of War in the name. Just call it Lao Fei, Lao Fei Afterlife, or call the game Afterlife, story. I don't know. Anyway, was that it? One interesting thing, and this actually made me feel good about it. I mean, R-Type 3 got re-released recently, remaster, and there was so many bugs with it, and I was like, man, I don't know if I should pick it up, but I couldn't help it. I had to get it and play it, and I've had fun with it. And the publisher did say, hey, we're going to work on patching it. We've heard you guys. But what is even more interesting is the original developer, the original director of R-Type 3 Third Lightning SNES had something to say about it. And he's like, yeah, as original director of R-Type 3, I would like to share my thoughts regarding the current situation. I'm deeply concerned about the state in which the product was released. While I welcome the fact that corrections are now being made, this product has, and I should have clicked on it before, this product has already been released and sold as a paid product. At this stage, effectively conducting another QA process with the help of paying customers seems inappropriate. Releasing a version containing so many issues and then relying on purchasers to identify and verify fixes does not feel like a sincere response from a company responsible for the release. Would it not be more appropriate to suspend sales, offer refunds to existing customers, and continue QA for as long as necessary until the main? Yeah. So again, you get an old school developer, an experienced game director, bringing this up, and I think I'm glad they're saying stuff. I'm glad these older game developers are on Twitter a lot, especially Japanese, because I want to say this might have been, I think he tweets in Japanese and it just translates. Yeah, it was just translating in real time for me. Interesting stuff. Okay, here's what we're gonna do. GMKLX, I think I saw that you said you played the Onimusha demo. Well, I'm going to do that right now. I hope it doesn't start with shader compilations or a cutscene because I really only have 10 minutes. So we will see once I get it going. Uh-oh. Oh, okay. There we go. I was about to say it's going to just launch minimized. Okay. Shaders are currently being compiled. Well, there we go. I mean, I'll just sit here and we'll see how long that takes. You know what? And that was that's interesting. I was loading 007 this morning, and I was like, well, I just want to jump in real quick, and I had to wait for it to do that, even though I played it on PC. It's maybe a patch or something. Oh, and you played on PS5? That's cool. What was another? Okay, another thing so on the Xbox, the load times for that 007 game are higher than I would have liked, but then on PC, they're not much shorter. So there's like this balance in the game dev world of like load times versus the graphical fidelity, and like, how much do you go all in, but then it causes the load times and the But then sometimes I feel like it should be done, like a game like James Bond. It should be done that way. All right, that status bar at the bottom is almost there. Almost there. Almost there. And now. No? All right, well, we'll give it some more time. But this is the Streamer's Worst Enemy shader compilation. There we go. Okay, let's just cut all through this. Okay. Thank you for creating the save data, even though I didn't. Like, that's something you don't need to tell the player. Yeah, let's just do this. Ooh, dismemberment. Wait. What am I trying to do? Oh. Verify my age. Okay. Oh my God. Like, I feel like this is a lot. If you're starting a game and then there's all this. I mean, maybe I'm being a little whiny, but ooh, this looks great. All right, not gonna mess with the settings, except for one thing. I do have to invert. There we go. Thank you. Man, that menu looked very Soulsy. Well, I mean, oh God, look at one-handed, two-handed. There's aggressive layout, defensive layout. What the? Block parry. Hey, on that aggressive layout, look at that. LB is examine. So, if you guys can name another game, let me know. But there's already 3 games this year that LB is a way to... Well, we'll see when we get into the game. But I think that's the new thing. What's the difference? What's block and parry on is X? Wow. I think I like this defensive layout better, but... I'm trying to think. Do I want to press X to block or parry? Since that's the default, I want to just try that and see what they're trying to get at. Because I don't mind when games do different things with controls, if it makes sense. Like, I almost feel like X should always be an attack button, just because of where it is in relation to your thumb. But that's, like, very specific. The final boss shader compilation. I also like how they got blessing from Mifune Estate to use famous actor Toshiro Mifune's likeness for Musashi, one of his most famous roles. That I remember hearing about that. That is really cool.
That really wasn't.
All right. Here we go. Okay, I can still skip, but I don't need to because. All right. Okay, here we go. My fans are kicking in, I can hear. On my PC, it's probably the cloth physics. Okay, A is a run. Around. So, interesting, I can examine. Okay. It's interesting because I feel like Onimusha has done things. Why am I looking over here? Has done things that. Wait a minute. There's the dodge and then there's the run. Interesting. Has done things that have led to what we see out of a game like Nioh, but now I feel like Nioh has done things that now this Onimusha is doing. I love Nioh, by the way. That series. Never beat the first game. I have like 47 hours in that game, which I think is a lot. Like, huh. I always wonder if these are like areas that I could walk around on. I'm always enamored by, you know, spaces that are developed, especially early in a game where it could be something you never see again. That looks like someplace I would be going.
Just the
oh, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna skip because I don't have too much time and I really want to see the combat. Y or B?
You're just fuel for the gauntlets.
Okay, cool. Very. Okay, interesting. I thought I'd stagger him. Wait, I'm trying to.
No challenge.
Okay. Yeah, the absorption thing, that's always been a thing. Oh, okay, so X. You know what? This might make sense. I actually should have did that when the character was attacking me. Let's, although I don't think that was the purpose yet.
What's all that noise?
Oh, here we go. Okay. Okay, you can lock on and block. Love it. Oh. Okay, what about this guy? I like that. Okay, so I do like the idea of X or West being a block button.
Let me through.
Because, yeah, it is right in the area that... But I don't understand what A is yet. Okay, it looks like he's just... So maybe it's just like if you just press it, he dodges? I like that. That's cool. Alright, guys, it is that time. I'm gonna have to jump, but we saw like a quick look at how the combat is in Onimusha, and I gotta say, I like it. And what it not that I got to play that, you know, Lao Fei game, but I think what I can already see from what Capcom is doing with Onimusha, I think by defaulting to making X block and A to be this sort of like dodging thing, I think it really allows the game to have that perceived cinematicness through a very deliberate combat system. I like that. It's one hand, two hand. That tells you, okay, one is a quick strike, one is a powerful strike. And then even pressing Y and B at the same time, it's set up that way easily. And then X, and I actually will play the demo a lot more. But that was a good first start. So anyway, guys, I'm going to head out. I'll be back tonight on Midnight Hatter, Steven's show. And then tomorrow morning, Gundam Explained, and then more Gundam stuff. So yeah, that's that. So guys, I'm going to head out. That was a lot of fun. We'll talk later.